Hey everyone, this is Rebecca Cohen, Internet IFC. It's a little weird to be sitting on this side of the camera, I have to say. Anyway, I'm here to talk to you about getting involved in the interfaith world. I'll start with my story just because, well, it is a reflection. So, I grew up in a mixed family. My mother was Catholic, so we were raised Catholic, but my father was Jewish, and he actually converted when I was 7. So, I didn't know much about my Jewish heritage, I guess you could say. So, I think that's what probably led me to majoring in Jewish studies when I first started college. Anyway, I knew I was going to major in Jewish studies. I had no clue what I would do with that. And towards the end of my freshman year, there was a panel talking about what do you do with your major. And for Nedges, well, they had a rabbi, someone who worked for Hillel, someone for Birthright. So, I mean, I could work in some of that stuff, but not really going where I was going with that. So after asking the question, I don't even think that the rabbi knew what he was saying when he said this, how it like set off this whole path. But the rabbi turns around and said, if you're part of any group that has bureaucracy, and not bureaucracy in a pejorative term, then the fact that the church has a structure, I'll have an office that deals with other religions. And it kind of clicked in my head. That's what I wanted to do. And that was about 3.5 years ago at this point. And so now I had this idea in my head, but I had no idea what to do with it. I had started my undergraduate at Brandeis University. So Brandeis was a pretty progressive school, and they actually had a fellowship program dealing with interfaith. So I was really lucky in that regards. But you know, today, even 3 years later, there's been an explosion on college campuses for this. Most college campuses will have something to do with interfaith. That's a lot to do with the Interfaith Youth Corps that's been going on out of Chicago, Eva Patel and his group, and that's amazing work. So at college campuses, it's definitely available to you. So I was getting deeper and deeper into this over the year, and I finally realized that there's two main kind of legs that interfaith dialogue stands on. On one hand, you have the theological dialogue, and on the other hand, you have a lot of kind of the what they call interreligious relations, you know, working together against some issue, such as poverty or global warming. We have Whipple for that kind of thing. And not that one or the other is better or worse. I mean, they each have their pros and cons to them. But the fact is that it was divided in this way. And you know, most times you're going to find that you like one or the other, or maybe even something else, because there are all these other things that kind of come in as well. There's, you know, the idea of spirituality and prayer, which we'll be talking about next week here at the chat. So, noticing that you can do these two different things, interreligious relations has really exploded. And there's many groups out there that will help you work with people of another religion in some way to better the world, work towards peace, work towards understanding, work towards, you know, specific political goals. And you have theological dialogue. And when I was looking at this, it seemed like a very difficult world to break into. There's kind of a break when you come to theological dialogue where it's the clergyman and kind of the very learned theologians taking place, or, you know, taking part in these dialogues. Well, I was just an undergraduate at this point, so it definitely wasn't for me. But what you're going to see nowadays is it's been kind of being brought down to, I guess, the average person. You have something like the Buxton Initiative that really does take theological dialogue and brings it to the average person. So, well, we may not be theologians and we may not be clergy, we are certainly able to take part in this dialogue. And something that's great about the Interfaith Conference is that it stands on both of these legs. So it offers both the opportunity to work with other traditions in bettering the world, I guess, and also offers the opportunity for theological dialogues. I mean, we have public dialogues after every assembly meeting. I think that's bi-monthly we have those. So it's definitely out there. When you start looking, there are times and places to get involved in both theological dialogue and religious relations if you look for them. So my advice is to get involved and to look. Not only that, but we now have the internet. I mean, we have this amazing opportunity here in the chat that anybody can be involved in these discussions. I worked with the Berkeley Center over at Georgetown University, and we looked at how new social media was being used for interreligious dialogue. And you'd be surprised at where you can find people talking about religion. So there are sites devoted to this, something like beyondtolerance.org, or some of the social networking sites coming out of Parliament of World Religion, which is Peace Next. But there's also a chance of getting involved in these dialogues even on just the regular old new social media sites like Facebook. We saw dialogues and conversations taking place in the comment section of someone's status. So it's there. You can look. And I mean, the internet, while also having its pros and cons in these kind of talks, does offer a place to get involved. So I won't say I'm an expert in any way, sense, or form of this, but 3.5 years ago, I was looking in from the outside. I had no idea how to get involved. I had no idea what was entailed in getting involved. But after 3.5 years, I've come to see that, one, this whole world is growing and trying to bring in as many people as it can, which is a wonderful thing to see. People are always very helpful in trying to get you involved. You tell them you're interested, they will find ways to get you involved. So ask. And not only that, but there are new things being offered all the time. There's something like the Interfaith Families Project, which was not around when I was a child, but these are groups that try to bring the children up in both their traditions. So for me, it would have been growing up learning both Judaism and Christianity. So even from the very start, really getting that kind of exposure to the interfaith world. So, in conclusion, get involved. Okay, well, I hope we have a good discussion. Let me know how you guys got involved. Let me know how else you can get involved. Give me some new ideas. That'd be wonderful. Anyway, I'll see you soon.